Hi there everyone, my name is Dominic and welcome to Open Roads. This is a new indie game that I saw pop up and it only released a few days ago, which is very rare for me. I'm almost always, when I'm playing a game on the channel, it's me going like, hey, look, this is a game from 2 years ago. Hey, kids, y'all ever heard of Poppy's Playtime? I'm just now playing it, you know? So it's me being way behind the trends. So now I'm in front of the trend, playing a game right when it comes out, and it's a small indie game that will probably not be that popular. So, you know, I'm really making sure to feed the YouTube algorithm with exactly the opposite of what they recommend doing. But that said, this looks really cool. It's by Annapurna Interactive, which is the publisher that has published games like What Remains of Edith Finch. They've done, what was the cat one? Stray, the one where you're just playing a cat, which is great. They did Journey. I believe they did the unfinished Swan as well, which obviously I played that for the channel and I'm a huge fan. So anyway, it seems cool. It seems like a very much like a walking simulator family story about, I think it's about a mom and a daughter going back to like go to a family house or uncover some family mystery or something. So I don't know. I'm interested. The actresses are Kerry Russell is the mother in this, and Caitlin Dever, who's been in a ton of stuff lately, is the daughter. So I'm anticipating some good vocal performances, hopefully some really good writing. And I also don't think it's very long, so I think it's maybe like 2 or 3 hours, which sounds nice to me. So anyway, let's get it started. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'd rather just kick off. Okay. Alrighty. Me, Mom, Grandma Helen, Grandma's 80th. Pack it up. Oh, are we moving somewhere? Is that the thing? Is that we're like going through all of this stuff and that's why we're gonna have some family heart-to-heart? All right, Mom wants me to pack up my room to get ready for the move next week. It's taken a while, but I'm pretty close. Just a few things left before I can cross it off my to-do list. Man, packing is the fucking worst. Like, legitimately, it's like I don't get people who, at least maybe I just don't have the stamina for it, but when people move around a lot and they're just content with it, they're like, oh yeah, I'll just stay somewhere for a year or two and then I move on. Because I'm like, packing is such a fucking difficult process. Both packing and unpacking is kind of a nightmare because unpacking is so, especially if you're someone who gets depressed, I feel like you get initially like, yeah, new house, I'm going to unload my stuff. And then about halfway through you go, some of this stuff can stay in boxes for 6 months. Like, and then packing is even worse because you're just like, it starts out all organized and then it just falls apart the longer it goes, I feel like. So, all right, let's see. Tessa's stuff. All right. So I guess that's all our job is right now is to pack stuff up. So, all right, pick up cup. Gameplay. Marnie's. What book you reading? Let me see. Liquid Gold, A History of the Canadian-American Bootleg Trade and the Secret Fortunes Left Behind by Judd S. Baldwin. Okie doke. Oh, we can actually open it? Are there any notes in here? Oh, it's a library book. Tess Devine. Interesting. All right.
Nevada. Home to all manner of folksy cryptids and cool dads.
Neptune Casino and Lounge. Remember my mom used to collect matchbooks from a bunch of different places. I feel like it's probably one of those hobbies that's nice because it's just so attainable and it doesn't take up a ton of space. The Fun Zone. Yeah, flip it over. What does it say? Me and Dad, laser tag champions. Yeah, I'm curious to know what's going on with the dad, if like he's just absent, if he's dead, because from all like the advertising stuff I've seen for this, it's about the mom and the daughter, so I don't know what's going on with the rest of the family. And also, why are we pinning up the Bigfoot news? Maybe that's the dad, maybe, all right? That's what he went off to go do, is to go be Bigfoot. We can read it? All right. Let's see, yeah. Oh, I can read all of that. I thought you meant we're going to open the book. Yeah. $3 for that magazine? That's too much. The Hunt for Buried Bootlegger Treasure. Local Myth or Fortune in Hiding by Tess Devine. So we wrote this. Prohibition in America was meant to stop people across the country from drinking alcohol in bars and their homes, but what it achieved was creating a booming industry of illegal alcohol imports, especially from Canada. Much of this so-called bootlegging was done in the dead of night, ferrying barrels of alcohol across the border and huge sums of cash back to Canada. But much of this money was stashed, hidden, buried stateside by bootleggers for safekeeping, until the coast was cleared to bring it home. And some of that illicit treasure must have been left behind when the bootleggers were arrested by the authorities or killed in underworld dealings gone wrong. The locations of these abandoned caches of riches may be lost to time, but hints and clues remain. My father and I have spent many a summer vacation tracking down potential spots to search for this left-behind bootlegger gold, none yet successful. But these local legends and the history behind them is fascinating to learn more. Continue on page 2. Interesting. Oh, maybe this is not going to be what I expected it to be. Maybe it's not a family trauma experience. Maybe the mother and the daughter are going to go on a journey looking for buried treasure, or bootlegger treasure, I should say. So, interesting. I do think it's funny how, like, historically that's, like, whenever they've tried to outright outlaw something like that, it generally just makes a market for it. Like, that gets discussed a lot with sex work, about how one of the safer ways to do something like in real life sex work and prostitution is if it's legalized, then it can come out of the shadows, where it's a much more dangerous affair, where obviously primarily women are being abused and targeted and misused in that field, compared to if it was legalized and destigmatized, then they could do things like, not only are they setting wages, they can be more strict on screenings for clients, they can turn down clients without nearly as much like worry about repercussion or being in danger, because they're actually would be working in a proper facility that was actually safe and secured and all that. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because I used to be so conservative on these things, and the more I looked into it, I was like, okay, I'm conservative because my brain's going, I'm morally superior, that's why I don't want these things to be around. But it's like, they're around anyway, they're going to exist because humans are humans and they've been around for thousands of years. It's how we tend to the people who are involved in these things and try to make an environment and a country and a space that is safer for them, you know? All right, let's see. What's this one? Let's see. Search spots. The Birchville Township, the waterfront, the points. Oh, okay, so she's been hunting for this for a while. Hunters Point, Copper Harbor, base of the lighthouse, are the places we have not gone. So is that what we're doing on the way, like, now that we're moving somewhere else? Are we going to go search up place? Are we going to go live in a lighthouse that used to be a bootlegger place? Hippo, aww. Mr. Bine. This is good. This is the, I'll have to play this and then play the unpacking game, which is another game I have not played, but I've heard great things about as a follow-up to this experience. All right. Yeah, pack up the poster. Okay, so I just have to kind of go through everything and pack it up, so, okay. Chores the game.
Oh, right. I was supposed to feed you. Poor little guy.
I never had one of these. It's so funny. I know this was a lot of people's childhood, was having little, like, the it was the Tamagotchis, right? Where you had to feed them on like a little schedule. Never was part of my life. Pick up the friendship bracelet. Tess and Fran. Yeah, who's Fran? What happened to Fran? It's so funny, these games where they start you off with so much information that you don't have context for yet. Birthday card from who? Open it up. Happy birthday, Teresa. It's always so much fun to have you visit. I can't wait till the next time. I'm so proud of you, your business, and the kind of woman you're becoming. All my love, Aunt and August. Very cool. Anything there? Nope. We're gonna check the trash can. Nope. Let me in. Yeah, what do we throw away and why? Dementia tips from a teenage grandson. When a beloved grandparent begins to experience dementia, it can be really hard. Oh, does... Who has dementia then? Is that... I hope it's not the mom who's dealing with it. That's like that movie Still Alice, where Julianne Moore's character starts getting it relatively young. I think she's only maybe 50, like not particularly old to be dealing with dementia. It just shows how quickly her decline is from that. And it's so heartbreaking because I can't imagine. It's one of the things I fear in life. There's not much about aging or getting old that really scares me. I think most of it, I feel like as I get older, I will just life changes and you adapt to it. And as you get older, you discover different things. But I don't really ever see myself being losing my creativity or not wanting to explore new experiences or share stuff that I'm working on. You know, I feel like I'm the type who will keep myself busy with cool stuff throughout my life. That's what I hope to. That's what I want to do. But something like dementia, I think, is so sad and heartbreaking when it's like, I can't imagine the feeling, and God, I hope it never happens to me, is getting to a point where your brain just starts deteriorating and there's nothing you can do about it. You just, and from what I've heard from people, or I should say I've heard from like online, from like family members of people who have dementia and all of that, is that depending on the day, they can be somewhat aware of the deterioration at different stages of it. You kind of know that your brain's starting to not fire the way it wants, which is why their personalities can change so much. They can get very angry, very aggressive, because they're feeling parts of themselves drifting away, and that's awful, you know? So anyway, that's like my one core fear. Hopefully, again, I don't think I have any family history of that. Most of my family, I mean, to be fair, I'm like, I don't think I have to worry that much. My French grandmother I'm actually not even sure how old she is, and she is still very sharp, very astute, very much mentally they're almost too much there, to the point where you can't get anything by here without her picking up on it. So that said, though, the mental state of my older years should be good. So, all right. Pack it up, poster. What does this say? Yeah, close enough. Pack up the rest of the room. Yeah, do I have to pack up everything, or can I just say fuck it and just move on? But I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, give me my yearbook. Let's see. Stay in school, kids. Don't turn out like me. What happened to Grammy Says? Is he the mascot that's the failure? All right. Class of 2003. Let's see. A lot here. Okay. Extra. Read all about it. It was awesome working with you on the newspaper this year. See you in the funny pages, Brian. I'm the first to sign your crack. That Jason, all right. You know, he's probably a chill guy. Can sense a stoner who'd be like, I'm signing your crack, dog. Francine was here. Hey, bestie, wanted to make sure. That must be Fran. Okay, wanted to make sure you wouldn't miss this message. Now, anybody else who signs this will know I'm your bestie, not them. So have a great summer this summer. Movie night every night. Francine. Okie dokie. All right, back it up. Moving is such a weird thing, too, because especially as an adult, I feel like that can be so difficult.
Guess I'll have to pack this after my next shift.
Oh, do we have one more shift at work we have to do amidst all the other things? But like, because I've known so many adult friends who moved to somewhere else, and they have so much trouble making roots, you know, because it's like you don't have the foundational places like school or all the community kind of things you do when you're a kid and a teenager to make connections. It's so much harder as an adult to find spaces to meet people. It can be so daunting to do that a lot of times, I think. Yeah, what's going on in the high school newspaper? The Greenville Gazette. Let's see. Official newspaper. Never forget, marking the anniversary of 9/11. That's right, because they say it's 2003, so it's it's just a couple years afterwards, so. Interesting, yeah. Whether you heard the news from your parents this morning or saw the reports on TV, you're certain to remember where you were that fateful moment. In the last 2 years, the threat of terrorism has become part of our everyday lives, as have terms like weapons of mass destruction. It's so funny because it's funny, like I see a lot of people around my age or a little bit older talk about where they were on 9/11. And it's weird because I really don't have any recollection of it. And I think it's because I look back and I'm like, did my parents just like shut me in my room and not talk about it until like the Iraq war had already started? Because I remember the war starting because my parents were very involved in a lot of like veteran activities in our area, and trying to support them and volunteer and that kind of stuff. But I feel like my parents were just so overwhelmed by it, understandably, that they were just like, go play in your room, and then like didn't talk about it. So I have no recollection of them even discussing it with me. Maybe they did, and I just didn't like, I was a kid at the time and didn't register. Would have been like 6, so maybe it would not have made an impact as to what exactly it meant that a terrorist attack had happened. So, what does it say? Divine Design. Oh, she does web page services. Interesting. One web page design, $199. Okay. Okay, cool. So good for her. So she's doing some web page design. She's got a lot going for her, it sounds like. Give me that nail polish. Seance. Very nice. Loving memory of Helen Sophia Devine. Okay, so this must be who had dementia. Okay, interesting. Passed away September 5th, 2003. So I'm wondering, okay, I'm piecing more together, I think. And I always like to try to piece it together before we go into the main story, because I want to see how much I'm right about and how much I'm wrong about. But I'm wondering, did they move here to take care of this lady, Helen, who I'm like, is this grandma? Is this auntie? It wouldn't be auntie though, because it's like Auntie August, they said. So I'm guessing this is grandma. 1928. Yeah, that sounds right. So I'm wondering if they moved here to take care of her while she was having dementia, and now they're packing up and moving back to where they were, or moving somewhere new, because I know that happens a lot, where people, to take care of someone else, they're needing to move in with them to be able to make sure they're okay. All right, get all our stuff. This is a lot of shit. It's not, but like, oh my god, the controller sensitivity is fucking nuts how oversensitive it is. What else is in here? Report card. Yeah, how are we doing in school? We got an A in chemistry. That's right, because I got chemistry with your mom. Geometry is a C+. English is a B. Phys ed. All right, so overall, we're a pretty decent student. Yeah, back that up. I don't know if I need to bring that. No one's ever going to see that again. It's like whenever in like high school, teachers would be like, if you don't succeed in high school, it's going to really define the rest of your life and career. And it's like, not necessarily. Subscribe, yeah. That's a good practical thing to learn, honestly, especially the early 2000s, learning web development, because that's still a useful thing now, but especially early 2000s, it was like a vibrant industry. So yeah, I remember learning a bunch of this kind of stuff. I was terrible at web design. That's why I went into doing like editing, Photoshop. That all made sense to me. Web design was not my thing. All right, pack up our cute little pink computer. Can we not? Okay. What's the plane ticket say?
Better leave these where Mom won't see them.
Oh, I'm planning to make a break for it? Oh, where are we going? Hold on. Yeah. I just want to see where it's going. From Detroit to Reno. Oh, interesting. So do I need to put these away somewhere? Huh. Andromeda Theater. Okay, we got actors. Okay. Oh, hold on. Can we pack this stuff up? Yeah. How much of this do I actually need to pack up? Will the game be mad at me if I forget to pack up some of this? All right. Oh, birthday card. Very pretty. May you enjoy all the blessings of your coming near. So proud of you, Grandma. Yeah, okay. All right, let's see if that's enough packing. I think we've seen most of what there is to see at this point. Yeah, nailed it.
Tess?
Yeah?
Come down to the basement. There's something I want to show you.
The basement?
I really like the art
What is
style.
it?
I like...
Oh, it's nothing really. Remember, this? Gah!
I love it personally. I think it's legitimately pretty cute. Yeah, I love it. I don't hate it.
I love it. Where did this masterpiece come from?
Your Aunt August made it. When she was a kid. It's Lady, the dog we had when we were growing up.
And Aunt August isn't a rich and famous artist now?
Well, she is one of those things. Not a famous artist, though.
We've still got a little while before we actually move out, right? Like a week?
Yeah, about.
The estate sale was weird. Having all those people in the house, picking through Grandma's stuff. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, me too.
Are you okay? Mom.
We took care of your grandmother right up to the end, and
now they're selling the house out from under us. I know.
wanna just take a minute and look around and see what's left? I haven't really gone through everything since the sale ended.
Yeah, me neither. That sounds really nice. Just looking through what's still here. Aside from this hell picture.
Amazing that no one bought it, right?
Just shocking.
So you're all packed up, right? Good to go?
Oh my god.
Just remember that it needs to be done by Wednesday so we can get everything out of here on time.
I know.
Let's see. Most of Grandma Helen's stuff was sold off in the estate sale. I haven't really had a chance to look around and see what's left now. It is so weird. Like death is such a weird thing in that it has such an impact. I remember seeing a thing that was talking about how unusual death is, that like, and it's the reason why I think it's a reason to try to really value life, even when it is difficult, trying to find little pockets of joy or happiness or connection in life, because like death is strange because once you're gone, it like, what was the way I heard it phrased was that like your friends will go to your funeral, but they're still going to get lunch or dinner afterwards, you know? And it's just to say that like the brain moves on pretty quickly, not because we let people go or because we don't actually care or we're insincere, but because our brains can only have that intensity of emotion for a certain length of time. And then your brain kind of goes, okay, I got to meander on to whatever other thing. I'm going to go to lunch after the funeral and I'm going to make jokes with friends and we're going to find humor through it and all that and find ways to move on. And it's just the weird thing about it is how much like you're just gone. You're just out of the way and then you just become a memory and people do move on very quickly. And it's not a negative towards anyone who's passed, you know? I think that's another reason why I always encourage people to like, if you want to create something in life, if you want to do art of any kind, it's like not only is it good for your soul in life to be able to do it and connect to people through it while you're alive, but also it gives a nice way to connect to people after you're gone. You know, it's a way for people to look back on something that is distinctly has your kind of fingerprints on it and represents you. And that way then they are not relying entirely on their own memory to remember you. They can rely on something that you're leaving behind, which is kind of, I don't know, I think it's neat, you know? It's one cool thing about
so
humans.
Dapper. Was this Grandpa's?
Very fancy. That's the thing like that's so unique to humans, especially because like it's a thing that nothing else in the animal kingdom leaves behind a legacy of art or creation. So it's so distinctly human to realize you can make or write or perform or, you know, create something that can live on so far beyond your own lifespan. This is a Dear Millie. Maxims, axioms, and more from the Sage of the Midwest. What does it say? Can we open it? No one gives advice like Millie. With her wit, wisdom, and ineffable tact, Dear Millie has been charming readers for over 15 years. Found in newspapers nationwide, Millie doles out sage advice to over 5 million readers weekly. Gathered here for the first time are some of the most engaging responses from the Sage of the Midwest. On matters of home, parenting, and romance, there's never been a question that Millie can't handle. Oh, so it was like a write-in column assembled into a book.
Grandma's advice column was popular, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
For a
hers, of
while,
course.
I felt really lucky that I got to ask her for advice face to face. I remember when we went to that one book signing when I was a little kid.
You remember that?
Yeah, I mean, people in the audience seemed so excited and nervous to get to ask her their questions right there in person. Sometimes when I'd ask Grandma for advice, she'd start off with, "Don't tell Millie," but I think she saved her special advice for me.
Well, she could have given some advice to herself and realized that taking out 3 mortgages on her house wasn't such a good idea.
I mean, yeah, by the time you get to the 3rd mortgage, you would think you'd slow down a little bit. But hey, who cares? She's gone now, all right? The debt's not going to follow you. That's one good thing. All right. Why did the broom so widow now? All right, what's over here? Why do I need to see this game? A bit later, this game is to turn to like a horror game where I have to come down here and fix the fuses. The spirit of Grandma comes back. All right, let's see. I'm assuming this is like the grandpa's workshop. Here, write boobs on it, all right? That way whoever comes next to the estate sale, I guess the estate sale's already happened, but I would say Leo Lambros, age 43 years, of Orange Street, died in 1968 at Alexandria Regional Hospital. He was a veteran of the Second World War, serving as a surveyor with the 173rd Field Artillery Battalion, scouting out enemy positions from the front lines. He later worked for Gein County as a building inspector. Surviving are his wife, Helen Lambros, and his daughter, Opal and August Lambros. Funeral arrangements are under the direction of the Milton family funeral. Okay, so that's the grandpa. So, he was only 43 then. Jesus Christ, he was super young compared to everyone else, so... Anything else? I'm assuming we can't go outside yet. Yeah, no. The field of view was kind of close. I wish the game was a little bit wider. I think it's giving more of like a realistic eyesight view, but it feels like it's a little too close to all the walls when I'm trying to turn and look around at stuff. Let's see. Ah.
I'm taller than you were.
Who's taller now?
You are. But I've still got time.
Yeah, Tess, Opal, and August. Okay.
We did our best, but the results were... Ugh.
Damn, your mama was hot. She was silent. Look at that. Like the jade necklace. Okay, girl with a hot mom. All right, do I need to pack this up? No, okay. What is this? Wedding invitation for who?
Mom's friends?
Yeah, because I'm like, let's see, because I don't recognize the names. Dorothy Jean Haverman, Nathaniel Edgar Borges. Huh. Interesting.
I've got to take more pics with Francine this year. We're so cute. Maybe I should start carrying a camera around.
I do like the art style, making everything else a pretty normal 3D environment, but then the characters are this kind of like, I don't know, almost like kind of rough along, almost like, it looks almost like a colored pencil kind of look to it, which is really cool. Let's see. Yes, it was 02. Okay. Yes, the game. Look at this. Look at the stuff we modeled. Look how good the glass looks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that coffee. Lemon yas. All right, not a whole lot in here. Yeah, do I need this stuff? Keeps like locking on to certain things. Diced tomatoes. How old are those? Those are before the Second World War. Time to let them go. Surprised no one wanted that in the estate sale. All right. Oh, what's the picture?
Wow, was this taken right here? Cool. That's Grandpa?
Mm-hmm. Probably only a year before he died.
Of a heart attack?
Yeah, very sudden. But I guess that's how heart attacks are.
Yeah, that is the thing. Life is very fleeting that way. It's great to I've been seeing more about how like a fair amount of young people are having heart attacks now, and probably just due to stress in addition to a lot of other, life factors. That I think it's a thing that I'm not surprised by, as awful as it is, because it's like, it's a little hard to worry about being healthy and get enough sleep and not be stressed and all this kind of stuff that they tell you. If you don't do that, it's going to lead to things like heart attacks. And it's like, yeah, but that's not really avoidable for most of us, especially in the current kind of culture that we're in, where it's like everything's more expensive than it should be. Everything is more difficult. There's like jobs are kind of a fucking mess. Like, it's rough. I truly feel bad for, especially like I struggle enough as it is to make ends meet myself. So I can't imagine being someone like, I think of so many of you who watch and listen to me that are like in your early 20s. And I'm like, what a rough fucking time. And I feel so bad like on your behalf, because I'm like, man, you didn't ask for things to be so fucked, but it is, and it's just so much like that's like is out of your control as it was out of mine. It just sucks. Dustbusters, I remember when they looked like this. I don't feel like that's technology like that's never gotten better since. Like they've made them look fancier, but I feel like all modern vacuums suck. I saw a TikTok about that, about how they're made to basically break down now. Was this like a little play studio? Oh, cute. It seems like Grandma had a pretty decent life as far as she was keeping herself busy. Like, that is one thing that seems like it's not surprising, but it's like the obvious connective thread is that when you get that old, the people who lock into a routine of like, I go to my work or I go to my daily activity, I come home, I sit on the couch, I watch TV, I don't do anything else, are the ones who deteriorate mentally the fastest compared to, and again, you don't have to be doing like complex things. You don't have to be doing like Sudoku puzzles every day or whatever, or trying to do anything, brain teasers or whatever. Just it seems like every old person I know who's doing really well, it's because they still go out and they do their gardens and they still clean up their house or whatever, and they still have some activities they do throughout the day. Like my grandma, like my Nana, who's she's probably almost 80 now, and she still rides horses very regularly. And even if she's not riding, she'll still go to like the stables to go, check on the horses and walk around and just socialize and just be active and be kind of a busybody, and she's just active. She just is around people and engaging and chatting. So it's like, it makes sense that keeps her so mentally active all the time. So
Is this...
Some of the last pottery your grandmother made. Yep. After her fine motor skills started to go.
it's still kind of beautiful. I do think like it's sad to see as far as like motor skills start to go and all that. I think there's a way you can view it, like they're saying here, that is kind of beautiful. It's kind of interesting to see someone still trying to make something even as it becomes difficult for them to do. You know what I mean?
It's still kind of beautiful. I miss her a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Anything on the walls here?
Oh, how did this end up down here?
Huh. Must have been in a drawer of something that got sold.
This is from one of the first digs Dad and I went on.
It was kind of adorable how excited you both got about going on those digs.
I remember being so sure that we would actually find bootlegger gold. Or at least a clue about it.
Your dad. Well, at the very least, he certainly had a way of firing up your imagination. I'll give him that.
Good for him, honestly. Like, it's such a funny thing how I feel like when you're a kid, like, just having a parent who has any sense of whimsy or adventure or whatever is so exciting because that gets lost so easy to be like, let's go, even if you're an adult and you know in your head how unlikely something is, it's like, it's not a waste of time to be like, I'm going to take my kid out looking for treasure or whatever. And even if we find nothing at all, that's still an experience. That's still more valuable time than just sitting and doing nothing or just kind of just whiling away the hours, just wasting time, apart. So let's say, yeah, Lions Creek, no dice. Yeah, what happened to the dad? I'm curious. Like, is there anything more to find? I'm assuming, again, we can't leave or anything yet. Maybe I have to go finish packing up my room. So, but first, we've got, oh, fuck, that's loud.
Oh, hey. It's August. Ugh, exhausted. The state sale was a lot. But that's easy for you to say. Yeah, I remember. And the answer is still no. Well... The what? Oh, right. Right. Sorry, it hasn't exactly been at the front of my mind. Yeah, it's around here, somewhere. No, it's fine. Okay. Love you. Bye. Unbelievable.
What did she say?
Nothing helpful.
Is she still not going to help us with the house?
No. She was just calling to ask me to find some book of hers.
Any idea where it could be?
It must be upstairs somewhere, in your grandma's things. It has a red and black cover, white block lettering. I'll know it when I see it.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, Aunt August called Mom looking for some books. It's important to her for some reason. Apparently, it's probably somewhere upstairs. All right, let's go look for it. Okay. It must be weird. Like, estate sales must be strange. Just seeing, like, your parent or grandparent stuff just carted off by strangers who, to them, it's just kind of a curiosity, you know? But I get why people do it. Like, you can't take everything along with you, you know? Like, it's just strange that that's just, like, you live a whole life, and within a matter of weeks, it's just this. It just packs up, it goes away. It is the epitome of you can't take it with you, where it's like investing in things that don't bring you joy, especially things just for the monetary value. Like, whenever I see, and it drives me crazy, I'll see, you know, and celebrities, you know, you see streamers, the people who you look at and you kind of go, you probably should never have deserved having this much money, but you do, you have attention because whatever, you're a loudmouth, you get attention for being obnoxious or whatever. Whenever you see people who will be like, you know, someone will critique them or say something and they'll be like, well, whatever, I have a watch that's worth more than your fucking house, you fucking poor loser or whatever. And I just think, I'm like, that must be such a horribly hollow existence. And I think those people don't even realize it in the moment when they're living it, you know, they probably think like, it's not hollow, I'm fucking awesome, you know, but it's at some point you're going to be surrounded by either no one at all or by a bunch of kiss asses who pretend that everything you say is amazing, you know, and have no actual thoughts for themselves because they're just there for your status. And I'm like, it must be so fucking hollow and disappointing just to be like, everything you do is the value of everything you do is the price tag that comes with it. You know what I mean? Like, and in the end, it's just the same thing. It's going to get sold to someone else. You're going to die. And then some young rich person is going to get it from you or some old collector, or it's going to go to an estate sale. And it's like, those things are going to disappear. And those material components are going to they're not going to tell anything about your personality or the life you led. You know what I mean? Like, they don't represent you versus, you know, when people have hobbies of any kind, like literally whatever you're into, that's cool because it's something that's part of what you were. You know, I think of stuff that I'm like, you know what, my pin collections, all these like little things that I have that I just like. And I'm like, I like the idea that these represent little pieces about myself, you know, like that someone could go through my pin board of all the pins I've collected and go through and go, oh, hey, this is when he used to go to Dapper Day at Disneyland because he liked fashion and he was like going to Disneyland. So when he was in his early 20s, he used to dress up in nice outfits and we used to go there with, you know, some friends and enjoy all the fashion and all that, you know. Oh, this one was from when he was getting back into gaming, you know, these are his Cuphead pins, you know. These are the ones from, you know, this part when he visited, whatever it is, you know, this band he was into at the time. Like, it's just cool to think that those things that are some of the cheapest things I own represent me better than most other things I have, you know what I mean? This looks cool. Can I like tilt this? What does it say? Lake Royale Nation, Newman County, Michigan. This game's so detail rich. I'm trying to open like every single thing that I can so I don't miss anything. Okay. I bet she said we're looking for what she said was like a red and black book. Yes. Do we need this to open anything? Not that one. Maybe this one. A farewell from Millie. Okay, so this was the grandma's advice column, right? What'd it say? Dear readers, it's been a delight, an honor, and a privilege to write to you over the years. Few people are lucky enough to say that they love their job, and I'm grateful to be one of them. I've learned so much from all of you, and I hope I might have taught you a little something too. When I open your letters each week, I'm always struck by your passion and drive to succeed and do better. We talk about the worst of humanity and much more of the best, and you all will be an inspiration to me for the rest of my days. Even as this column comes to a close, I hope you'll still consider me a friend. I know I'll consider you one. Interesting. So that's interesting too. That sounds like that the grandma really had an impact on people's lives. It's interesting. I'm like the idea that after the husband passed away so much earlier that she went on to give advice to people. And I'm like, it's so interesting piecing together who she was only from the things that we're finding, you know. And it seems like she was such an interesting, clearly very smart, very emotionally wise kind of person, which makes sense why it's such a loss for, you know, for the daughter and the mom here. So interesting.
Want to know something? Your grandmother didn't write this. I did.
You did?
Yeah, I just say why you and all that. I'm assuming because she was like the dementia was affecting her, you know, so she wasn't able to write it herself, but just curious, yeah.
Why you? Well, you're not like
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like an insult.
I think I did okay.
No, I mean, you did great, but, you know, I don't know. Were you surprised when they asked you to do it?
I think her editor, she just wanted it to be from someone she was close to. I guess she was hoping for a family voice. I just tried to put myself in Millie's shoes.
Well, you did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wasn't trying. That's the thing when the dialogue option doesn't quite sync up with what it sounds like. Like I didn't mean to ask her like you don't even know how to fucking write, Mom. I meant like, yeah, like why you? Like why? Like what happened? Did the editor reach out to contact you? Aw, was this one from when she was little? But yeah, I didn't mean it to be like bitchy, being like, oh, you thought you could do it? I'm sorry.
I remember hiding in here with a flashlight to read my books when I was a little kid and we were visiting Grandma.
And a box of crayons, apparently.
We'd come to visit and I'd hunker down in here for hours. Some kind of game in my head, I guess. I'd be hiding in here and I'd hear Grandma out there in her room, typing away or just reading in bed. I know she knew I was in there, but she'd always pretend not to know. And I'd pretend she had no idea I was hiding. I don't know why. I just liked the feeling of knowing she was out there.
I have only slipped away into the next room. Somewhere very near, just around the corner.
The poem you read at Grandma's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
It is a cool thing too, I think, when someone has a family house this long. Like I think that's the thing too, is like a house needs time to be lived in to this degree, you know, like you don't get this much history on the walls. It's one reason too that I think it sucks, and it really does bug me on a emotional level, why the fact that I'm sorry, I'm like tongue-tied today. I have lots of thoughts in my head about the game. It's evoking a lot of interesting prompts in my head, but my brain is not giving me the right words. So you know I'm usually a decent, I like to think I'm a somewhat eloquent person, and I guess it's just not today, so my apologies. But just that it bothers me how the fact that people of our generation and people of, you know, who are younger than me can't afford to get houses, not just because everyone obviously deserves a place to live and to call their own, but because you miss out on the time you deserve to be able to have history. You know what I mean? Like the feeling of getting to have a family home that starts out and you make it really your own. I think it's really foundational as a person, and it sucks that that's not accessible to so many people, that we have to live in the shells of these houses owned by other people because we have no other alternative option. And we have to abide by their rules, and we have to truncate and compact our own existence into a rental space to be able to say, well, here's how far I'm allowed to exist within this confines. You know, I can't just do anything I want with this property. And I understand why. I understand, you know, that's, you know, it is owned by someone else. That's not reasonable to allow people to do necessarily anything they want. But it does kind of suck, doesn't it? Because I'm like, you should be able to, without worrying about any repercussion, be like, paint the fucking walls a weird color. Do things you might regret that are small regrets, you know? Do something that you look back on later and go, I don't know what phase I was going through that I decorated this way, but whatever. I'm going to redo it. I'm going to, like, that's a small regret. And it's not even really a regret. It's just a thing where you can change it later. So, I don't know. Just stuff I think about. A lot of things that add up together that make life fucking difficult, you know? I'm someone who tries to be generally hopeful and optimistic, but it's not easy, and I get it whenever I see people, especially when like I see comments and I see stuff from you guys about the struggles you guys go through, and I'm like, I really do feel for it. It just like, I think about it a lot because it's like especially I think going through your 20s as someone who, I'm 29 now, and I'm not ready to be 30. I don't feel like, it kind of sucks because part of me is, I'm both very glad for where I'm at now, obviously, getting to make what I make and share it with all of you. That's an unbelievable blessing. But I do feel like I look at the middle years of my 20s and be like, with COVID and all this other stuff and just life being fucking difficult. And I'm like, I feel like I did not get the years that I deserved. And I feel like many of us did not get, you know, we had years taken from us through no fault of our own that we didn't get to build and develop and all that. And so much was taken away from us. And now, kind of post-COVID era, we're returning into a world that is now worse than I remember the experience of being in the pandemic, because obviously pandemic was terrifying because of the amount of loss of life and the tragedy that was happening. But also it was a time where a lot of us spent a lot of time inside, for better or worse, a lot of time figuring out what we wanted to do and be because we had nowhere to go, you know? And now we have to go, okay, well, that's out the window again, back to just fucking surviving, back to paycheck to paycheck, which I saw a thing that I guess statistically, I saw a thing that said that I guess 70% now of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And I'm like, if anything does not show the implosion of a country, it's that. When you have 3/4 of your population unable to have any sort of security in life and just not having the certainty of being able to get ahead on anything. It's like that will not breed a culture that is strong and inspiring. I see so much about like stupid posts that are like, well, difficult times make strong men and all that. And it's like, no, they fucking don't. They like, when people point to like back when there was war and all that, men went to war. And it's like, you know what? Those kids went to war and came back brutalized and traumatized and shell-shocked. And a lot of them fucking killed themselves as soon as they got back because they couldn't handle trying to function in life when every night was reminding them of the hell they'd been through. So it's so insane to me when I see people be like, you know, that's how life has to be. When life's difficult, the best of the best, you know, rise to the top. It's like not when everything's pushing us down. Like the idea that I'm like, I would be creating so much more than I am and doing so much more if I wasn't constantly stressed about trying to make ends meet literally every single day of my life. I'm like, I look at it, I have to tell myself this a lot on the days where I'm not feeling up to it. And sometimes I get up and I just can't record, or I wake up and I don't feel good and I just can't keep up with it. Or I physically feel ill because I feel ill a lot. You know, my physical health is not always the best. And a lot of times I just have to tell myself and go, okay, the fact that I'm creating at all to the degree that I'm doing under the circumstances being as challenging as they are is still a positive. And I look at it and go, okay, the more I keep doing this, the more, you know, I keep just committing to it and creating and all that. Not only does it make me feel better, but I always kind of remind myself, I'm like, okay, long term, if I can do this long enough that it becomes a full-time thing, that will be such a relief and a joy and so worth the struggling points of this kind of creative journey of making content and creating things. Because I'm like, that will give me even more space to create even more and have more time to think and to breathe and to make even better things, you know. And that really kind of, it keeps me going on the difficult times, as do all of you, honestly. Like that's one thing I appreciate is how much a bad day or a tough day for me can really be improved when I go, okay, I'll work really late making a new audio or something or whatever, and until at the point where I'm very tired and exhausted. And then I kind of go, oh man, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I'm just exhausted. I don't know. Am I still as good as I want to be, you know? And I'll second guess myself. And then I'll see the comments from you guys and I'll see how many of you are watching and joking and engaging with the story and coming up with your perspective on it and all that kind of stuff. And that legitimately lifts my spirit so much to go, okay, I have this amazing community here that not only enjoys the stuff that I'm making, but enjoys interacting with one another. I love the connection so many of you have. And I look at that and go, okay, that alone is such a motivator to go, well, if nothing else, this is a really good anchor in life that I never want to lose or be unappreciative of. You know what I mean? So I always get very philosophical, very emotional when I play these kind of games, which is, it's what the games want. I think they're trying to evoke emotions from us that a lot of times we don't have the space to think emotionally when we don't slow down and engage with stories and art like this, which is another thing that's strange to me, is that, I'm sorry, I'm going to turn this 2 or 3 hour game into like a 5-hour TED Talk on my perspective on life, but it is what it is. If you've been there any length of time, you know that's how it is on these kind of games. But the fact that too, when life is so challenging and stressful, it also doesn't give us space to feel our fucking emotions. And it doesn't get talked about, I think, very often. When you wake up and you're immediately like, okay, I need to be making money. I need to be doing this. I need to be furthering something I'm doing or whatever. And that's all your brain is on the moment you fucking wake up. What kind of space are you supposed to have to better yourself on an emotional level, to mature, to be able to read books that, you know, inspire you creatively, that inspire you emotionally, that challenge you to be a better person, to be a less selfish person, you know? It's like that stuff requires mental space to be able to make progress doing it. That's why, like, even doing something like therapy, I think, can be honestly sometimes potentially not useful at all, just because you can get good advice and then have no space in life to apply it or to be able to really implement it, and it just feels like it can be so at odds, and it's just, I don't know. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what there is to do about it because it's so far beyond the capacity of so many of us to be able to make any difference in the way our country and our culture is run. Like, but it just sucks. You know, it just really fucking drives me crazy. Not just because life shouldn't be as hard as it is, but because also it's stripping away a whole generation that should be creating things, you know, that should be making new art and innovations and adding so much to the culture. And we're stripping away the ability to do that by making everything making life so impossible to live in, you know, when rent is so fucking high, when just getting groceries is fucking expensive as fuck, like when trying to pay for your car insurance, like whatever it is, literally everything getting fucking pricier, and not seeing any of that reflected in the way we're treated or paid or taken care of. So anyway, there's my fucking rant, but it's been getting to me a lot because right now, at the point of this video, hopefully future Dom will look back on this from a much more favorable place in life. Right now, life's just been very difficult for me, just with a lot of stuff going on, both financially and like health-wise and stuff. Nothing serious. I don't want to, I say that I don't want to, like, I'm not dying anyone. Don't worry about that. But just, you know what I mean? Just like the effects of stress and lack of sleep and all this kind of stuff, you know, it just builds up, you know. It just means you don't get to feel your best. You spend a lot of days feeling like, okay, I'm 29, I'm not old yet. I should not feel like I'm at a 5 out of 10 getting out of bed in the morning. But sometimes it just is like that, you know. And it's the pressure of everything day to day that really weighs down on everyone. And I know how many of you all feel that too. So I don't know what the answer is, but just know I feel for you, and definitely I understand what a lot of you are going through. All right, what does it say?
Hey, Mom. Actually, maybe I should just put this back.
So I'm guessing there's some antagonism between August and the mom. I guess they have some sisterly issues based on that phone call, especially. Opal, sorry to hear that Mom's doing worse. I've been thinking about her a lot lately. I know this is a sore spot, so it's the last time I'll bring it up. I really wish you'd let me help with Mom's medical bills. I get that you'd rather have me there in person to help, but I just can't get away from work long enough to make that happen. I'm sorry that money is the only thing I can provide right now, but that's just the situation we're in. If you're stressed about everything you have to do, you can always send Tess down here for the weekend. Love having her around. Call me if there's anything new with Mom. Love, August. Talk about another thing where corporate culture is such fucking poison, and I hate it so much. And I used to be the rise and grind kind of guy. I remember being in my late teens and being like, this is the reason I work till 3 a.m. Then I get up and I go to my classes and all of that because and it was this elitism thing of like, I make all this stuff that I make because I'm on a different level than everyone else. And I couldn't last like that for very long. My mind changed on that into adulthood very quickly, where I was like, fuck, this is killing me. And it's making me not enjoy any of this because I'm not doing it because I want to. I'm doing it because I feel like I need to get ahead on something arbitrarily. But it's stuff like this where it's like the idea of like, well, sorry, you know, can hey, sorry, your mom has dementia and is going to be, it's going to be gone soon. Sorry, can you still come into work? And a lot of times we have to do that because we go, okay, I either can't afford it, or if you are very wealthy, you get stuck fixating on the amount of money you have and never wanting to lose it. So you just kind of go, well, that comes first. This is the thing that gives me the money or whatever. So people fall second to that. And that's so fucking frustrating. Like it's so bad. And it's not how humans we were ever meant to exist. Let's be real. Okay. Oh, there it is.
I am the very model of a modern major general. Mineral.
It's funny. I don't know like anything about Pirates of Penzance. I know it exists, but I've listened to a couple songs from it, and it was just not my thing. But that's funny though. The theater kids. So what they feel like, if you've done theater for any length of time, like you're always a theater kid. Whether you got out of doing theater or not, you're still a theater kid, all right? You still need to wear that with honor. Even if you were cringe, especially if you were cringe, you need to just own up to it. All right, where the fuck is this book we're looking for? Maybe the armoire, the hook pole. What is this for?
This?
Oh, it's for getting in the
a hook pole thing to pull down the hatch to the attic.
Yeah, to get up in the attic. Yeah.
Be up in the attic with Grandma's things?
Could be.
All right. We can go up there, but you go first.
All right, we're gonna go to the attic and we're gonna find all the dead bodies because maybe that'll be the twist, you know? Grandma seems so nice because she was a little murderer. All right, here we go.
Okay, come on up.
Damn, it's dusty. Now, where's that book?
Felicity, Swing into Spring. What year is this from? Did it say? It says it was 60 cents, so Helen Lambros. Yeah, so this was for the grandma. Yeah, it doesn't say what year it was from, though, does it? Just May. Oh, May. Oh, it says 60 cents, though. It just says May issue, so I'm assuming like 60s probably. Creepy looking doll. Yeah, little creepy, little creepy. At least it's not, it's like when you go into old people's houses and they have like the awful like blackface servant dolls, and it's like, okay, gotta go. I shot a short film in someone else's house that had some of those like memorabilia, and I was like, oh, hate this. There's a bunch of us on crew like taking photos of that and sending it to other people and being like, well, if we're cursed after being in this house or whatever, you know where it started.
Okay, well, this is just creepy stuff. Why are these up here?
You'd rather they were downstairs?
Good point.
I mean, I'd rather they were not at all. Like, you know, Grandma could have just not kept them. Bowling trophy. I used to be in a bowling league, not to brag, I know, ladies, keep your panties on, all right? I know. The way I would handle those balls was very impressive, but...
Oh, Grandpa Leo was a bowler? He and Dad have that in common.
What do you mean?
Dad loves bowling.
No, he doesn't.
But he's always wearing those bowling shirts. Didn't he used to be in a league or something?
Honey, he just thinks those shirts make him look hip.
Bowling shirts?
Don't judge your dad for being a fashion icon, okay? He's right. Yeah, they are hip. You know what? I'm saying this like half joking because maybe I'm just getting old. Or I've looked at some of those now and I'm like, I don't know. The kind of bowling shirts. There's something to them. There's something timeless. There's a timeless nerd vibe to them that I kind of don't mind. I'm not gonna lie.
He's right. They are hip. Hip and cool, like a guy in a ska band would wear or something.
Ska?
It's,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't know ska. Ska is another thing that, like, ska is music that feels cringe, I feel like, when you first are exposed to it, and then you realize they might be some of the coolest people alive to ska bands, like, and it's really hard to hate them. Yeah, you know, the cool kids at school do not probably listen to ska, but we're just gonna pretend that that's the case.
It's music that cool kids at school like. It has, like, trumpets and stuff in it.
Yeah, all the youth are listening to it.
Fedoras and sunglasses and dress shoes and stuff. And I think, like, bowling shirts. Like Dad.
Yeah.
Ska is cool like Dad.
I see. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, the mom said, press X to doubt. He said, look, your dad might be many things, but cool is not one of them.
Whoa. Grandma's wedding dress?
I wore it on my wedding day, too. And you can wear it when you get married.
I get the vibe. I don't know. She's so young. I feel like Opal is at the age where she's like, I'm probably not getting married. Like, I feel like she has been going through so much that she feels like she needs to spread her wings a little bit. So, and again, who knows? Life changes people over time. But I feel like at this point, I feel like that's what Tess would feel about it.
I'm not getting married.
You don't know that.
Did you know you were going to get married when you were my age?
Sure. Or I always thought I would.
Well, I know too. And I know I'm not.
Yeah, I'm a lone wolf, a bird that flies solo. What's the point of getting married? If you love someone, it doesn't change anything. Marriage is an institution based on women being property. I mean, she kind of is cooking with all three of these, so I do like... Marriage is a weird thing to me specifically, because I don't think there's anything necessarily inherently bad with it, but I really have always felt that the sense that marriage is like the fix-all, that's like, well, we're having problems because, you know, if we got married, then we wouldn't have these conflicts and all that. And it's like, that's not how that works. Like, if the love you have for someone hinges on the ceremonial component of it, I feel like that's a really bad foot to start on. I feel like that is what ends up decimating a lot of marriages very quickly, versus marriage being a thing where it's like, no, the marriage itself is not going to change anything. It's just a way to express publicly how much I love this person, how much I care for them, and how much I'm already committed to them. It's not a representation that I'm going to commit to them now. It's that I'm already there with the commitment, and I just want to showcase that. You know, I feel like that's what it's supposed to be, but often it's not. It's often meant to be like, well, if we do this, then it'll fix everything, because then it'll mean we're serious. And it's like, you should be pretty fucking serious beforehand. You should have your shit worked out for the most part prior to that experience. The marriage is not a thing that's meant to patch up any existing cracks in a relationship. You know what I mean? So
What's the point of getting married? If you're with someone, I mean, if you're in love, putting a label on it is just pointless. Like, who cares?
Generally speaking, the two people getting married care, and their families.
Yeah, but like, one day you're not married, and then you spend all this money on some big ceremony, and then the next day you are married, but you're still the same people.
It just says to the world that you're committed to each other.
Why agree to hang out with the same person forever when you have no way of anticipating what's next?
That's how you feel now, but you might change your mind when the time comes.
You know, also, if you don't get married, you can't get divorced. So, that's a plus.
Are you saying you wish your father and I had never gotten married? You know you wouldn't be here right now if we hadn't.
Oh, don't even get me started on having kids. And anyway, you can have kids without getting married.
So you're not getting married. You're not having kids. You've got your whole life figured out at age 16. You don't want the dress. I get it.
I mean, but it's a nice dress. It meant a lot to Grandma. And to you. Isn't that enough?
I do. It's funny though. I do feel like a lot of people, a wedding and a marriage for them so often, and it shouldn't be the motivation, but I get why it is that a lot of people go, this is the one time in life I will feel loved and celebrated by all my friends and family in one place, you know, because that's a time when even family that sometimes can be antagonistic will probably show up and be happy for you and be glad about it. And that sucks. That's not how it should be. It should not be this thing that bridges conflict in a family to be like, well, it is your day, so we'll show up and be kind and compassionate. It's like that should be, we should feel celebrated by the ones we love in our day-to-day life as it is. But unfortunately, that's just often not the case. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on marriage stuff. I don't know why I have it so strongly, but I just do. And I know some people hear this will probably just think like, oh, I'm just a guy with commitment issues and all that. And I really think I don't. Like, it's funny too, that's really never been, especially because I'm like, I've never been the one in like my whole life in the relationships being the one trying to be on the way out with one foot out the door. I've always been the guy who's been like, but can we fix this? Can we communicate better? Can we learn more about each other and about ourselves to connect better, to be able to, can we try to, you know, discern the gaps between here's things that are insecurities that I have, that you have, that we need to work on ourselves because it's, you know, the other person's actually not doing something wrong. I'm being insecure and I need to work on myself to be able to understand if I'm going to choose to trust someone, I have to showcase what that really means. And then figuring out, okay, some of this stuff is insecurity, but some of this is a legitimate issue. Some of this is the way, you know, this other person communicates that maybe makes me feel unheard and they don't realize the way they communicate might be selfish or the way I'm communicating might be selfish. So I don't know. I just think it's funny though that I feel like a lot of people feel like that's their only chance to feel seen and loved and celebrated in that way. And that's not how it should be. That should not be the only occasion you have in life to be able to celebrate the experience of being together. So, yeah, let's do the guitar. All right, cool. I guess we do not play guitar. What's this? Oh, these are the books?
Here?
Here, let me grab that. I'll put it up here to look through. Yeah, there's a bunch of old stuff in here. But,
Mom?
hold on, it might still be here.
Trapdoor! That's where the dead bodies are.
Here it is. Maybe if your dad had read this, he wouldn't have stopped working at the video store.
Mom! What's in there?
Okay, forget about August's book. We found a weird suitcase in a secret compartment in the attic. Did Grandma Helen hide it in there? Why? The answers may lie within. Was she running alcohol during the Prohibition era? What year was that? Was that even lined up with when she was alive? I'm actually not sure. It's funny to mention at the books though, like, oh, if your dad had read this book, would say just my 2 cents. Oh, is this the one she pulled out? One of the advice of the sage, the Midwest all in one place. Millie Calder. Oh, okay. Is this one of the advice books? Yeah. You know what's funny too? So this is a tangent, but you know how like almost everyone relies on, or not everyone I should say, but a lot of people rely on the whole love languages thing. Like, what's your love language? You know? So do a little bit of research into that guy and that author. So not only does that book have a lot of misinformation first off, that doctor was a hyper-religious guy who the original version of that book was edited heavily into the current version that's published today because it had so many sexist things in it about like women submitting to their husbands and a lot of very misogynistic points of view and very hyper-religious tinged so-called psychology. But it's funny too, and I'm going on a lot of specific tangents today that some of you may not agree with, and that's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome not to. But I think the whole love languages thing, I think it's so damn unhelpful. I think it's so bad for relationships, legitimately, because it becomes this thing where, as humans, almost all of us need multiple types of connection, affection, and communication to be able to have a good relationship, or even just a good friendship, even just to other people non-romantically. But we get into this love language thing where it's like, well, you got to pick one. Well, you said your thing was acts of service, so I'm doing stuff for you, all right? But now you're saying it has to be physical affection too, or it has to be words of affirmation. And it's like, as humans, you may have certain ones that are more meaningful to you than others, but I feel like it very often becomes this very strange inhuman categorization to say, well, this is my one category, and then partners can neglect the other ones. And sometimes not even deliberately or willfully, just because they'll think, oh, well, those other 4 options must not be very important then if they picked this one. I'm sorry, but I just look at that and I've like gone through that and picked it myself, in my earlier years, in my early 20s, I think I went through some of that book and kind of was like, yeah, I guess this is helpful. But then I would think about it later on and be like, yeah, but it's not helpful, honestly. Because I would think like, oh, maybe it's like physical touch is mine probably. I like physical connection means a lot to me. But then I realized I'm like, that's not me as a human, because there are days where I feel like absolute shit and physical connection doesn't do a thing for me. And those are the days where I might need words of affirmation. I don't feel like connecting physically. But hearing that someone cares for me or is worried about me or loves me can go a long way, And sometimes an act of service on another day can be what matters, where if I'm really fucking depressed and really having trouble getting through something, work or chores or whatever, having someone who's willing to say, hey, can I give you a hand? Is there anything I can do that would make this easier? Like, that can go so far in connecting. But again, I think we shortchange what it is to be human by pretending that we only fit in these very set categories that are the way we connect with people. That's the same thing as when people talk about like the separations between men and women, largely which I think are not fucking true, and they're not innate in what it is to be a man or a woman. It's their cultural components. The whole idea of like, well, men are visual creatures, and it's like, is it that men are visual creatures and women are not? Or is that men have been hyper-fed sexuality and pornography and all this stuff that in and of itself should not have been bad, but they made it so that was all men were fed, like force-fed for generation after generation, was this painfully hypersexualized world, but not connection, not intimacy, not sensuality, specifically sexuality, devoid of any of the humanity connecting to it. And we see that being, pushed onto men for so long in advertising, in culture, in filmmaking, in storytelling, whatever, as like, well, this is what men like. And then, of course, it becomes this self-fulfilling thing where the men who are raised around it do fixate on it because it's what they're being given. And then women are being told to be, repress their emotions, and they're the more emotional types and they're softer, more gentle and all that. And it's like, yeah, because if a woman didn't represent that, they were considered undesirable. They were considered like, oh, these weird matronly, these brash, abrasive women and all that. And it's like, so many of these differences that I see a lot about how like, well, men and women are just wired differently. And I'm like, I really don't fucking buy that, especially the older I get. The amount of stuff I look at and I go, I think humans on a base level have so many similarities, much more common than there are different. Are there some differences? Probably. You could probably make some that life experiences for a man or woman may have some differences. The physiological difference of being, if you're someone who, say, gets periods or whatever, that's physiologically going to be a different life experience for you than someone who does not, and that is a difference. But again, that's a subtle one compared to the emotional differences that, I think are very rare. Most of us, we want love, we want connection, we want to feel free in wanting to express ourselves, wanting to feel safe, to be able to share how we feel and try different things and explore things in life. And I feel like the categories we wedge ourselves into don't reflect what most of us want to do, Like, it's a weird thing to think legitimately. I'll think about things where I want to try to dress differently, or I've been growing my hair out a little bit lately. And legitimately, I even though it's been like, it's not the way I feel, but there's still this nagging thing because of being raised in a very patriarchal, very misogynistic society where my brain goes, okay, but if you do that, someone's going to think you're too girly, or someone's going to think you're acting too fucking gay, or things. And it's still there, even though in my brain, I don't really worry about that consciously. I still will have those thoughts pop in now and then, just because they're hardwired culturally in being raised that this is the way men and women are supposed to be and supposed to act and supposed to look and all that. And it's just so fucking damaging. And I do feel like that's very much, that has improved a lot. I feel like with the younger generation, a lot of you are in your early 20s, who want, a lot of you who watch and listen to me, I feel like you guys have done a good job changing that. That is one, I think, component generationally that I think is really positive, is the expression of being like, these things don't inherently define who you are, the way you express yourself, the way you convey yourself, whether you're emotional or soft-spoken or brash or abrasive or whatever. And I think all of that, you can be any of those things and still be emotionally mature and a decent person and a compassionate, thoughtful human being. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's just funny seeing these things from, I was going to say like 10 years ago, but no, this is 2003. So it's 20 years ago, which is, it doesn't feel that long. My brain keeps going like, yeah, 2003. Yeah, 5-10 years ago, but it's not. But yeah, I see so many of these books like what's the one? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That's one of those fucking books that every like boomer parent is like, yeah, I read this and that's why I knew your dad just couldn't ever understand me because he's a guy and he doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Like I remember, and this is just like a minor example, but I remember my mom told me that she was like, oh yeah, I never watched Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice with your father because I knew he wouldn't like them. But I was like, did you ever even ask if he would be interested? Because I was like, Dad's pretty, he kind of just likes good storytelling. He likes a good movie, he's not a very bro-y type of man, like, especially when it comes to movies or books or stories or whatever. So I remember I showed him both of those. I showed him Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility, and he fucking loved them. He thought they were wonderful. He thought they were the humor, the romance. He thought he just thought they were so heartfelt and well done. But I realized, I'm like, my mom probably wasn't trying to think anything malicious about him. But she probably legitimately was just like, well, no, he's probably not, because he's a guy who used to be a bodybuilder when he was younger. He wouldn't want to even spend time doing that. And I'm like, I think of how many people we shortchange experiences because we think they don't fit into the mold that we think we should fit into or other people should fit into. So anyway, lots to talk about. Did she grab the suitcase? Oh, it's this one right here. Oh, it's behind me, isn't it? What are these? What are those? I'm like, oh, did Grandma have a secret family she never told us about? Damn, is that Grandma? Grandma looks cool as hell. Or is that the mom?
This is just some junk from the old summer house.
Your family had a summer house?
Well, it was more of a cottage, I guess. We spent the summers up there for a long time.
And you've never taken me to visit?
Well, I haven't been there since I was your age. We just stopped going one summer. The summer after my dad died. I think there were just too many memories there.
Oh my God.
What?
Aren't you seeing it?
Seeing what?
Right here. Behind them? That's a freshly covered hole.
Uh-huh.
It's obviously the location of the buried bootlegger gold.
Ah, I knew
In our
it.
backyard, you mean?
Indubitably.
Lady probably buried a bone there.
Dogs
No.
don't really do that. Only cartoon dogs do that.
Only cartoon dogs bury bones, but real-life bootleggers bury gold in people's backyards?
Yeah, Opal.
1968?
It was a different time, Mother.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree, all right? That's a good enough reason to go on a little adventure. Yeah, what's under here? Oh, God, Nixon, jump scare. What does this say? Lots of words. Christian one, recently, this is one of her, advice columns. Recently, one of my daughters gave me a tremendous shock. She's married. Apparently, her college beau and her tied the knot without my knowledge. She claims that they wanted to skip the wedding to save for a house. I'm very hurt by her exclusion. She knows that I have dreamed of a big wedding for a long time. How can I convince her that a marriage founded in secrecy will never last? Miffed mother-in-law. Millie's a character. Pull it together. Millie's going to answer this in a second, but first off, this lady, miffed mother-in-law, is a bitch. I'm sorry. That's another thing that drives me nuts, is the idea of, this is not what I had planned for your life, thus I'm angry at you. And it's like, it's not your life. a marriage founded in secrecy will never last. Well, the amount of them that I have seen in life from adults who had lavish weddings and they didn't last either. I'm like, maybe there's something deeper than how public or impressive a wedding is. Maybe that's why also marriage I don't think means that much to me specifically, because I see so many people that I'm like, well, somebody that I know, it didn't make a damn bit of difference on whether or not they had a life together, or they actually stayed together. And I think too, and then there are the marriages where they stay together, but they're miserable until they're old and they just stick it out. And I'm like, that also is not how humans are meant to live, All right. See, answer 1 says, half the battle of being a parent is allowing your children to make their own mistakes. Only time will tell if the marriage will stick. And the only thing you can do is make the best of it. Consider the weight your daughter's been under, keeping this under wraps. We all have our secrets, myself included, and to not be able to tell even our closest loved ones can feel absolutely suffocating. While it can be hard to see a child make such a foolish mistake, ? The best thing a mother can do is bite her tongue. Yeah, too harsh rewrite. Okay. Question 2. My husband rekindled, this is like a first draft of her going through her questions. Interesting. My husband rekindled a relationship with his high school crush, a girl he hadn't seen since his Air Force days. They're both married, and he told me they're just friends. Against my better judgment, I supported it, and they started spending more and more time together. Well, I should have trusted my gut. Coming home early from grocery shopping, I caught them in the act, and now I'm at a loss. My friend says get divorced. My mother says to stay together for the children. What can I do? Hopeless in the heartland. Oh, that sucks. Hopeless in the heartland going through it. Nothing's harder than having your marriage fall apart before your eyes. Trust me, I know. It's hard to say what's worse, the sense of betrayal or the realization you've been had. Divorce is a tricky subject, no doubt about it. I'll tell you one thing, though. There's always time to start anew. Abandonment and freedom are two sides of a coin. Yours, Millie. No newspaper will allow you to argue for divorce rewrite. Yeah, that's right, because it's back in the fucking 60s. It's back in the era, in an era of religious era of like, well, we don't just quit on a marriage. And it's like, maybe if the marriage was a bad idea in the first place. Or sometimes things are not terrible in the first place, but they do deteriorate.
Did Grandma write these?
During the last summer, we visited the cottage.
Was she okay?
Looks like her editor didn't think she was. It was only a year after my father died. I think Millie was still figuring things out, too.
It must have been hard.
I'm sure it was. They'd been married 20 years?
I meant for you.
Oh, right. I mostly just tried not to think about it.
That doesn't seem very healthy.
It got me through.
Oh, it is a family trauma game. That's so fun. I do like that it's like we're getting so many stories about family, like lack of connection, lack of emotional maturity, because all the people who were raised with this are now writing stories about these things, and they're fueling their family trauma, their religious trauma, their, the issues of sexism. Like so many different facets, I think, are showing up in storytelling. And it is interesting because storytelling, any creative field, movies, books, games, whatever, they reflect the generation coming up, or I should say the generation just coming into their middle years, because usually that's the time when they have the amount of sway to make games and to make things that get published. And it's interesting seeing the gap generationally in that. Well, it's like a movie like Turning Red, the Disney movie that came out. And that's all about overbearing parenting and all that, and parents with different ideals and all that who are over controlling and overbearing and all that. And it's like, it's not a coincidence how many movies we're seeing featuring that, or like Everything Everywhere All at Once, another one that is so much about the ideal of what a parent thinks their kid's life is meant to be according to them, and vicariously saying, look, my life's terrible, so that's why, and I'm completely dissatisfied with my life and my marriage and all this stuff, that's why you have to make your life something better than mine, which is such an unfair pressure to put on any kid. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether the kid is happy or is having the life that they want, or taking responsibility to say, if my life sucks, I better fucking do something about it. If I didn't try to make things or do the things and passions I wanted to lean into, that's on me and no one else. And I think a lot of people, as they get older, it gets harder for them to recognize that, because they want to say, because they need to rationalize, well, I didn't lean into my passions because they weren't realistic, I didn't lean into my passions because of parenting responsibilities, because of this marriage, because of work, because of all these things, and not come to grips with the fact that they go, I didn't lean into my passions because I never fucking tried. I just didn't give it a shot, and I'm still not going to give it a shot. and not try now. That's why I always encourage people. I'm like, if there's anything you want to do in life, fucking do it now. And it doesn't mean you have to be a success at it. Just fucking start. Because the cool thing is if you start now, even little by little, then over time, once you get more comfortable with it, you will probably have some space later in life to work on it. For example, like right now, I've mentioned elsewhere that I would love to learn how to make music, and I have no fucking clue how. I really don't know. So I've just been casually studying a little bit about music production because I was like, okay, I feel like maybe I can make like electronic music because I'm good with audio editing is my specialty. I do like a lot of electronic music, and I was like, that's something I feel like I understand a bit better. And I might be able to make something out of that, but it's not a thing I can do right now. I both don't have the time and I don't have the know-how, but I'm like, I just told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start learning about it right now. And maybe like 5 years down the line or whatever, I'll have enough knowledge to be like, all right, I'm going to go for it now. And that's okay. That's a perfectly reasonable way to live your life. So what's so interesting about the sunglasses?
Vintage.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna keep them.
Can I keep them?
You think they're your style?
Yeah.
Sure. Just be careful with them.
I'll guard them with my life.
This is one cool thing. Talking about something you can pass down that's actually cool is like cool vintage clothing and all that. Like when it's well kept up, that's a really cool keepsake to pass down, honestly. Nice. Is that grandma in her hippie era? Cool van. It's I'm gonna give it groovy van.
Groovy van.
I did love that van. The engine died for good while we were visiting the summer home, and so I just turned it into my bedroom after that.
You slept in a broken down van?
Well, the summer house was small, and I always had to share a bedroom with August. When I realized I could have my own space just by sleeping out in the van, it was a no-brainer.
Did you, redo it to be like a bedroom inside?
Yeah. Your grandfather pulled the seats out for me, and I set up a little bed frame with a mattress and all sorts of posters and pillows and shelves and things like that.
Wow, that's actually cool. Could I do that? With our car?
No!
See, that's another thing too. Like, if you don't have a space where you have a little bit of extra money and the economy's okay and all that, it's really hard to be whimsical and be like, I'm gonna buy a van and strip it out and make a room out of it. Because that's a cool fucking project. That's a really cool idea. Like, I've thought about, I've seen people who buy like the vans that are they're like delivery vans, but people strip out the backs of them and make them into like little campers. That way they can go camping really easily. They can basically just rent out a space and go hiking and do all the nature stuff, but then they have a little sleep area and a camper built into the van. And I'm like, that sounds cool. That seems like that would be really fun. But it's not something you have to have the money and the time and the resources to actually do it. What does this say? Custody by Greenville police. Who got arrested? Another burglary last night in what state police are investigating as a series of crimes carried out by a single organized group. Once again, there were no signs of forced entry and nearly all of the valuable jewelry was taken, over $100,000 worth of merchandise. Interesting, the Girl Scouts of Troop 317 of Gein County, along with their families, took a trip to the lake. Dear Millie, recently, a close personal friend of mine confided in me that she is having an affair on her husband. I love them both dearly, and I'm not sure if it's better to let the husband know or keep the wife secret. Doubtful Indulith. Dear Doubtful, situations like these are painful for everyone involved. There's never an easy out. Keep in mind that this is her secret to keep and not yours. Keep your loyalties where they lie. Dear Millie, I know you've promised never to share your oatmeal. I don't know if that's great advice, because I don't know, keeping loyalty is one thing when it comes to someone's private information, all that. At the very least, I feel like if your friend's doing something like that, at the very minimum to start talking to the friend who is doing the cheating, or even if they're lying about something else, again, if they're lying about they're spending money where they shouldn't or whatever behind their partner's back, at the very least going to them and saying, hey, you need to come clean about this to your partner first. You need to be the one to do that. I think it's like the starting point at least to be able to try to, get them to at least kind of get their head on straight.
Whoa. There was a crime spree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, department stores and fancy clothing shops. Places kept getting robbed. The police couldn't figure out how the crooks were pulling it off. It went on for, it felt like months.
So what happened? Did they get caught?
Now that I don't remember.
Are you the crime boss? Were you stealing all the stuff? That's what we're going to find out. That's why she's on the run from Grandma's house. Postcard. What does it say? This space for writing messages. We'll be together soon. I love you, and we're going to love our new life together, free and happy. Who's this from? Helen Devine. Who did she write this to? I need to know the tea. Yeah, who was this for? Was this for her husband, or was she writing to someone else?
Well, whoever this guy was, it sure seems like he and Grandma had something pretty intense going on. Was Grandma Helen...
I was about to say, planning to run off with this guy. Ooh. Was she doing some, what do they call it, the emotional cheating, where you're kind of, you're invested in someone, so in some kind of secret relationship, planning to run off with this guy. Let's see if it's, yeah, because that's the vibe I get, is she's planning to run off with him.
Planning to run off with this guy?
No! Not the Helen I knew.
That doesn't mean anything.
Intrigue. Grandma, what were you up to?
That's the thing, like, not the Helen I knew. And it's like, yeah, but we don't all know our parents. Sometimes as you get older, you go, there's a lot about your personality I did not really connect with. Hey, is this the book?
Grandma's diary? Should we?
Oh, I don't think we should really...
Oh, Grandma wouldn't have cared. I'm dead. What difference does it make to me? I can hear her saying it now.
Oh, no voice line for that last one. But yeah, just a peek. Come on. Yeah. Crack that thing open. It's got to have some goods in it. Oh, another postcard. Let's see. Aren't any help. They think they are being good neighbors, but if anyone should know where the path of good intentions lead, it's these church ladies. The children carry on the best they can. Opal is caught up in her own teenage dramas as usual, almost as if it were any normal summer. August does worry me a bit. She's becoming caught more and more in her imagination. I wish I could help her, but there is much I can't say. It's becoming a challenge to keep my correspondence with, is it crossed out? Oh, concealed. It's only a matter of time till we're together again in person, but to hold it all inside, not tell a soul, is almost too much. Who knows? I know. Soon enough, the waiting will be over, and this will all be in the rear view. Yeah, what is... I'm like, forget about the past. Leo's dead. All that matters now is our future together. What's going on? Did she kill her husband? Is that why he was in the hospital? Probably not. It's probably not that dramatic, but I don't know. Huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next page. Ooh.
What is this?
It's the key to Grandma's secret sex dungeon.
This guy were definitely together before Grandpa died? And they were gonna run away together? You never heard about this?
No, this is...
And what is this key to? Why is it hidden in here?
Something at the summer home, I assume.
Okay, well, now we've got to go check the old place out.
Oh, so we're going to go drive to the summer home to investigate. Cool. Maybe find the boot. Honestly, I'm more concerned about the mystery man, because I'm like, who was this? Who lured Grandma away?
To find out who this mystery man was. Don't you want to know?
I don't know, Tess. We still have so much to do around here.
Oh my God, Opal, come on.
It'll be fun. An adventure.
Yeah.
To call Tina at the theater and finish cleaning out the fridge.
Come on. We never get to do stuff together. You spend all your time at the theater, and I spend all my time in school. When was the last time we were able to do something? To talk?
Well...
You do want to know, don't you? I can see it, Mom. I can see it in your face.
Oh, God. You know, a little change of scenery would be nice.
Ha, that's the spirit.
We could spare a weekend before we have to move for a little road trip, right? To tie up some loose ends.
Right.
And some of those little towns along the way are great for antiquing.
Yeah, sure.
All right, it's a deal. Let's hit the road and see what we find. I could really use a break from all this, even if it's just for a weekend. Pack your overnight bag.
Yes!
And bring your homework. I don't need you falling behind at school.
What about August's book?
We can FedEx it to her when we get back.
Okay. A road trip! This is gonna be great.
Cool. Oh, I'm so interested now. Like, yeah, we're on the road to the secret summer home to find out what's the deal with Grandma Helen's mystery man. Who knows what we might find? It'll be a while before we get there, though. All right, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hold it right here because I don't want to go any further and miss anything because I'm really enjoying this. And it's cool now that we kind of know where we're headed as far as why we're going on our little road trip and what we're going to uncover. So this is really cool. I've been really wanting to change things up just for my own sake, to play something a little different that's more of a story character walking simulator, you know, the kind of thing where it's just about the story, it's about the writing, you know, and that's really the core, it's the core draw of the game, you know. So it's been a while since I've had anything like this. The last one I can really think of is What Remains of Edith Finch, you know. I know there's been plenty more published, but not many that remind me of it this much, and hopefully this kind of continues to be up to that quality because I really enjoy it so far. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this. I'm going to play the whole game. I don't think it's very long. I think we'll probably wrap it up probably next episode, but this gives us a good, like, what feels like the whole first act of the story, and we can get into the rest of it next time. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. My name was Dominic, and I will see you next time. Bye.